Alright guys, so today we are at Murdoch's, which is just a cool little feed store. I'm taking Alex for the first time. We're here with Wolfie and he has Tilly. Again, but today's big video is going to be introducing new people, which is going to be the important part of all this stuff. Right now we've just been kind of priming for a little bit before we start to head inside, and then once we go in, you'll kind of see how I start to working through a little bit of this kind of atmosphere as well. So we've just been walking around the store for a little bit, and again, this is where we're just letting the dogs kind of just relax next to each other, right? This is where that neutrality really is able to be kicked in, where we're in a new environment, you know, stepping away, where again, Alex is, 6-7 feet away from Tilly. I'm a decent bit away from Wolfie, and the dogs aren't trying to go and interact with each other. They're not trying to do anything weird. They're just kind of just laying there and just relaxing a little bit. But being in these new environments and keeping everything super consistent is what's going to lead to just them becoming neutral everywhere they go.
Tilly, come. Sit. Good girl. Good. You're doing good too, Wolfie.
All right, guys. So as we kind of end the day a little bit, we are going to talk about introducing new people to our dogs. And it's super important that we kind of understand how to properly do this, who gets to properly meet our dogs and whatnot. And Bear, you guys got a pretty good look at what life's going to kind of look like in that sort of circumstance at Barnes & Noble, where the biggest thing I like to talk about is when we're introducing new people to our dogs, not everyone needs to meet our dogs, right? I know we want to let all the kids pet, Bear, let all the kids go up to Churro or get him even used to some kids. And again, that's great, right? We can build neutrality, but we can build neutrality without over socializing our dogs, because the biggest things that we kind of mess up with when we are introducing our dogs is we start showing them loopholes, perhaps, right? Where if we don't introduce people the correct way, right, with structure, they're going to start going to your friends, your family members, your neighbors, whoever it is, and be like, cool, I can do whatever I want. I can say, I don't have to listen to mom or dad when the neighbors are petting me. But then also, right, with that happening, that's where it comes into your relationship as well, right? Coworkers, family members, all those sorts of things. We want our dogs to be neutral. And the biggest thing is, like I was telling you guys when we're out in public, I don't let people come and pet my dogs. The only people you really need to introduce to your dogs are people that are going to regularly be in your dog's life. I'm talking about they are over at the house multiple times a month, or, that they're taking care of your dog or whatever they're doing while you're out of town or whatever. If we are just over socializing, right, we're letting them meet every single person that comes up. That's how we can build reactivity. And we can build it in two different ways, right? We can either get reactivity where they start barking at everyone because they don't trust you. And now they're like, cool, every single time a person comes up, mom lets them touch me. So I have to start barking at these people to get them to go away. And that's the reactivity we don't like. Or we have the second type, right, which was the kind that Bear typically had, or that, Bear had at drop off, which is the excitedness, right? Every single time they see a person, they're like, I'm going to get pet. I'm going to get to play. And now we have an 85-pound dog that's trying to, jump on people, pull over, do all those sorts of things. Where, again, we want the neutral part. We want exactly what Bear did at Barnes & Noble, where he just laid down where the author was talking to us. Or where Wolfie, where I don't know if you can see him, but he's passed out on his bed. Wolfie was in Home Depot, just people were walking right next to him, putting things up, and he didn't even lift his head up, right? That's exactly what we want. We want that neutral mindset. But let's say, okay, cool. We have family members that come over that are going to be in our dog's life regularly. And when I mean regularly, it's like my dad comes and visits me twice a year, maybe. He doesn't pet my dogs, right? My dogs get put up or they just stay on their place bed, and, but he might go and like interact with them maybe a little bit, but it's hardly, that's only if I like give my dog a break, like, hey, just go say hi. All right, cool, place, right? But the way that we're about to do things right now is we are just going to show you how that structure looks when we are introducing them. And I want you to kind of think about it on that week one where you guys came and I gave you guys a leash, or I gave you guys an example of what we're going to be doing, where I said, all right, cool, you're going to take your dog, you're going to put them on the place bed, and you're going to let them stay there, right? While you're giving commands, I'm running the e-collar. It's the exact same thing. So you're going to have your friend, and I'm going to use Bear as an example because I believe Bear is probably going to be the one that is going to meet most people. Which, again, you shouldn't be introducing your dogs to a lot of people in general. But just because of your guys' lifestyle. You have two younger kids. You guys are younger, where again he's probably going to go out a lot more. He's going to have those opportunities to meet a lot more people than Churro or Wolfie. That when we are introducing them, right, what I like to do is that we're going to start off on the bed. We're going to come in the house, keep him on, or keep your dog on the place bed, nice in the down. As that person comes over, right, let your dog just relax for like 20 minutes. Keep a leash on them. We're going to drape the leash off. And what we're doing here is we're keeping everything distant. The last thing we want to do is, I don't hate, but it is a pet peeve of mine when people want to introduce themselves to dogs, and the first thing they do is they start putting their hand out wanting the dog to sniff them. Dogs sniff out blood pressure, cancers, bombs, everything from miles or from such great distances that are ridiculous. They don't need your hand to be 6 inches away to greet them, right? And a lot of dogs out there, you putting your hand out there for them to smell you is a very aggressive kind of display, because dogs see everything as bodies. They read body language. That's how you're going to get bit with a lot of dogs. So that's also for you guys, but that's also for them in this case. So all they're going to do when they grab it is they're going to grab the leash, and you're just going to tell them, cool, grab the leash and just do those circle drills, right? Just walk around with the leash in your hand. Don't go and pet the dog. You can give them treats if they want to give them treats during stuff. But you're just going to be like, all right, cool. Then with them, all right, you're going to tell Bear, all right, again, I'm using Bear, but this is how every single dog is going to be used for it. You're going to tell Bear to follow, all right? So the same thing you're going to do. You're going to be like, all right, cool, follow. Bear can walk around with them a little bit. Cool, no, follow. All right, tell them place, down. All right, you can have them down right there, but you're going to do 5-10 minutes worth of structure, worth of just tell Bear to do things as you guys are running the e-collar. And then what I typically like to do after that is they're going to put them down, let him relax for like another 20 minutes while you guys catch up, get some water. You kind of talk them through why you're doing it this way, because again, protect your investment, right? I get our company isn't the cheapest company out there, but what we try to give you every cent worth is in the knowledge on it. On where again, we are trying to build a neutral dog. You want him to go out and put places with you, we want him neutral. I don't want him getting excited when kids start saying, "Oh, he's so cute," or when parents are wanting to come up and touch them. Same thing with all of them, right? Then after that 20 minutes, I'll typically be like, all right, cool. Give Bear a break. All right. Again, that's where we were kind of talking about, kids Bear allowed to roam around the house? No. But he can kind of roam in the living room while we are watching him, while we are, that way we're able to correct if he does anything wrong. And again, I'm talking about Bear, but it's about all three of these dogs. Where it's all right, cool. And then if he wants to go and introduce himself to that person, cool. If he doesn't, because again, he's probably not going to be the only dog in your guys' life, where you're going to have multiple dogs. If he does not want to go and introduce himself to someone else, that's no big issue either, right? There's dogs out there that aren't the biggest people dogs. Put him back on his place bed, let him relax. If he doesn't want to go introduce him, they can give him treats, they can pet him, they can do all those sorts of things. But you are still in charge, and they can still be in charge, right? Balance it a little bit. And so if he's getting too rough, no, down, place, whatever it is, put that structure back into there, making sure that he understands that their words are just as valuable as your guys' words are. And again, this isn't going just for the new people. This is going for even if they've met him before, right? Grandma, grandpa, cousin, coworker, friend's friend, or sibling, whoever. Reintroduce it to him in a structured way, right? Nobody gets to be grandma. That only gets to give him the treats, and there's no structure behind it. If they don't want to do this work, then I'm sorry, they can't pet the dog, right? And that's just my rules, right? And those are how we can just keep everything as you keep our investment up, because it's going to start off with one person where you're like, oh, it's okay, he doesn't have to. And then you're going to leak and leak and leak, because that's what happens when you have a leak, is those drops just come out. And you got a big puddle, and that big puddle is the behavior issue. Where like, man, anytime somebody walks up next to him, he thinks he's going to get pet, and he breaks out of the down, and he gets super excited. And how do we get him back to being nice and neutral? It's like, just stick to the basics and understand that, cool, some people might look at you like the bad guy. We were at Barnes & Noble today with Churro, and I was at Starbucks. I had a guy that came up, I'm talking about like a foot off my back, And he was wanting to pet Churro, and I was like, no, he's in training, can't pet him. I'm trying to order, and then he's like, how much for the Chihuahua? And I was like, I'm his trainer, and there's no amount of money I can sell you this dog for. And he's literally like a foot off of my back. And I was at the point I'm like, okay, you can look at me as the bad guy because I won't let you pet the dog or buy the dog or whatever you want. I was like, but I really don't care. Like, I'm gonna go take my coffee, sit over there with Alex, and we're just gonna continue our training. And that's where we have to advocate for all of our dogs, right? Where it's like, dang, they're gonna look at me like I'm mean or whatever it is, and that's where you're like, you know what, I'm doing what is best for my dog. Because at the end of the day, that guy, that random person that approached me in Barnes and Noble, or that approaches you at Home Depot or anywhere, they don't mean as much as your dog means to you. So do what's best for them, not what's best for your emotions in that time frame. All right. Same thing with like at Barnes and Noble, right? That author lady was super nice. She's also very understandable on why we can't let her pet bear. But Churro is a lot smaller dog, so the issue's a little bit minimized because he's not as big. But it's the same thing for Churro. It's the same thing for Wolfie, where it's like, advocate for your dogs, don't advocate for your own emotions, right? If you feel bad because you're like, oh, he's been on his bed all day and he hasn't gotten to be free, it's like, what's best for him, not what's best for your emotions. Because again, if you're in your office working, what are they going to naturally be doing anyways? They're probably going to be laying down somewhere making their own decisions. So just let them lay on their bed, right? Do what is best for them, not what is best for you in those sorts of environments. But if you guys have any questions, they're all getting dropped off this weekend, and we're going to go over that booklet a little bit more in depth at drop off. I know you guys have been reading them, but just write them down, and I will answer all of them, especially when it comes to introducing new people. Tomorrow we're going to go over introducing new dogs, where again, you guys have already seen them get introduced to other dogs, but I'm going to go in a little bit more depth on that. And again, this week is just about fine-tuning the at-home lifestyle, the things that you guys are probably going to do a little bit more, especially like in these hotter months where you're probably not going to take Bear out to the Pearl on these hot months. You're probably going to let them just hang out the house. But that is today. Hopefully, we have another really good day tomorrow because all of them are killing it. I'm Bear.